Well, we've had a great summer. Obviously in the weight room and running and developing our guys. So it's been last couple of weeks we've been locked down as a staff and just really had a great 2 weeks with our staff and just preparing for the season and working and getting ready for camp. Excited to go back up to Camp T. Excited to be starting up there. So that's going to be awesome for us. First thing out of the bat, really focusing on our team unity and just what Camp T brings is really special. Our guys have worked extremely hard. It's an awfully exciting time when you look outside and you see all the, it's pretty cool to see the field go in. I got an opportunity to talk to the construction workers yesterday and some awesome things happening out there. So a lot of excitement around our program and just really excited about our players. We've had a great summer of work and excited to get started and putting all the pieces together.
Hey, Todd, a lot of coaches will talk when they get to an off season about sort of taking stock of where they are on an annual basis. Mm-hmm. Do you do that sort of thing? And maybe what sort of realizations did you have in this off season?
It's pretty easy in this profession. It's W's and L's. That's about how it works. So, I'm very, like I've said, I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the last 4 years. Obviously, we haven't met, the standards that we've set for ourselves, but we've done some pretty special things. You look at just how we've what our guys have done on and off the field and in the classroom. At our 4 best years academically in school history, had 990 APR for the year. We best GPA in school history, 34 wins in 4 years is one of the best 4-year periods ever. So we assess all the things that are obviously positive. I believe, honestly, I spend more time on the things that we didn't do and how to get better. And people is what makes an organization, and feel really good because we're going into year 5, and just our guys and their understanding of our values in our program and what we're about, and understanding our schematics and how we're doing things, and then lots of excitement. I'm really excited about our staff. We've had a great 2 weeks of what we call hideaway, where we lock it all down, no cell phones or any of that, and we just talk ball. So we don't go eat lunch. We have everything brought in. So it's been really good to spend that time. But we did a lot of obviously assessing and reevaluating and doing a lot of things just to constantly trying to get better at everything that we're doing. But lots of things to be proud of, lots of things to be excited about, and in our business, it's obviously what you wins and losses is what you're gonna be evaluated on. But to here at Arizona State, it's a lot more important how we go about doing things, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to establish as a program and the values and the success of our guys that are leaving our program. So,
Coach, you've had significant changes in your coaching staff. Can you take us in detail on how you see that transition happening and how that's going to impact the play on the field?
Well, we've got, as far as the play on the field, it's kind of like I was telling you earlier, it's exciting to, we're going to have a new quarterback. We're going to have 4 new offensive linemen. On the same hand, we got a lot of talented young men that have worked extremely hard and got a veteran receiving core, running backs, tight ends. We're deeper than probably we've ever been as far as in most every position. But obviously there's some inexperience there. So, the staff has been, it's been really, like I said before, it really speaks volumes about our program and how what people think of our program to be able to attract the guys that we've attracted here. And Coach Lindsay and, Coach Norvell, Coach Simon, the new guys on offense have been, it's been really a very seamless transition, obviously, with Coach Thompson, Coach Alexander there, and Coach Martin's done a great job of kind of working there. But I'm really excited about the leadership. I'm excited about where we're at there. On defense, having Coach Samalo and Coach Rushing, Conrad Hamilton, has really provided a lot of, as an analyst, has really been really impressive so far. So, staff-wise, it's been awesome. Coach Patterson obviously has taken an elevated role defensively, but we really, obviously, Coach Slocum and special teams and what we're doing there. The staff's been fun. It creates a little bit of excitement, a little bit of energy when those things happen, and I'm excited to see us get out there and go. Now, obviously, there's no substitute for experience, and so what we're trying to do as much as we can is be as complex as we can in our organization to make simplicity for operations when it gets to game time. But we spent a lot of time together, and I know one thing I've enjoyed being around the men that we've brought on our staff, as well as the guys that have been here, and we got great staff synergy and energy, and I think that's really key. Guys like each other.
Todd, last year's team had some very vocal external leadership, and this year's team seems a little bit different in that regard, so maybe a little bit quieter.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts about that, and do you have a preference?
My whole deal is that we talk to our players obviously a lot about what we say and do. On the same hand, I want guys to be genuinely who they are, and I think last year was just an exception. I think it was probably last year's game. I mean, Jordan Simone, you're not going to coach a guy like that, but very, ever so often. I mean, tremendous young man, and then Mike. DJ didn't say as much, but I mean, I think different people are different. Obviously, some of our leaders on our team, like Lau, are just guys that are naturally pretty quiet. So probably the personality of our team is a little bit less, external as far as that goes. But our guys can be genuinely who they are. We really don't like to, I've never been one that, our goals are pretty much written on the wall. So. That's our goals are what they are, and our guys, it doesn't bother me that they're not writing a letter or something or anything like that. But on the same hand, man, I think one of the reasons why those things happen is that, I talk to our players a lot about our fans. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have fans that bought tickets and people that support our program, and we represent them. And so, we're going to do it with class and character and integrity, and that's what we emphasize to our guys every year. I don't try to make them subdued or I just want them to be genuinely who they are. That's kind of how we approach that. And on the same hand, our messaging and what we're trying to accomplish is, we got knocked on our can. We got to get back up and get back at it. And so, but lots of positive things as far as that goes. But this team's, I look at the leaders on the team. You don't have a returning quarterback or a already decided who's the quarterback's going to be. So that probably impacts that a little bit. And our guys are just a little bit quieter, I think. Some of them are extremely. Some of them we have to twist their arm, get them to come in here and talk to you guys.
Todd, you've talked a lot about the need to eliminate big plays. In your research, what did you find was maybe the biggest factor in giving up so many last year? Was it personnel, execution, scheme? Did you identify one certain area?
Probably, it depends on the situation and what game you're looking at. I mean, we didn't have as big of an issue until later in the season. I think injuries contributed to it. And what happens on injuries, I'll give you an example, and just not, and being adaptive. Obviously, we, in the back end, we look, we had some guys had just 2 guys graduate, but one of them was pretty significant in the back end, or really significant in the back end. And then losing Armand week 2 was something that, I go back and look, and even myself, you got moving a young man over that has 3 days to get prepared, and you say, well, so depth and personnel had a lot to do with that. But a lot of those factors, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. And the main thing is just being adaptive to the guys we have and what we can do and what their skills and talents are. And that's what we've tried to go back and look at. And, but, you're going to see that. You see it in a lot of games, as I watch other games, around the league, that's it's a pretty explosive league, and you're going to have to, there are going to be some bombs go down the field, and you've got to knock those down and not let those things happen. So there was just a whole bunch of different factors, and some of them were unique to different games and things like that. But we do that every year. I mean, every year we go back and we evaluate those things. But I'd say there'd be a lot of different factors.
Eric, and then Doug again.
Hey, Todd. Kareem Orr moving from safety to corner, just how has he done over the summer, and what does he have to do to kind of prepare himself for a positional shift?
Well, I mean, we've got, one of the things when we recruit our guys, our defensive backs, a lot of those guys can play corner and safety, and Kareem played safety last year, out of necessity, did a solid job for us as a freshman. Just think he's got some, we really like some of the things we've seen out of him at corner, and feel like right now that's where we're going to look at him at, but, it's all clean slate right now. We'll figure it out as we go through camp, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that are critical to us is getting the guys in the right positions on the offensive line and in the secondary. That's the two areas where they're going to be the most newcomers. So, we feel good about the guys we've got. We just got to get them in the right spots.
Defensively, I think last year at times you said maybe you needed to simplify things because your system can be not complicated, but complex at times. Going into this season, is there still a need to simplify, or can you guys?
One of the things, I mean, obviously we're not going to give away what we're doing or anything. I mean, and try to be as honest as I possibly can be. I think that's probably one of the biggest things is just adapting to, we're going to have 4 new offensive linemen. So obviously, where is that line of what we can execute and make sure that we're being simple. I think when we had the injuries last year, those hurt you when you have injuries, but what hurts you even more is you have to kind of scale those things back, and it's hard to do whenever you're 3 or 4 in there. But that you got to plan for those things. So it'll just depend on our players. But we got a very veteran. In a lot of places, we got a lot of veterans, but we're going to have the 2 areas that are going to have the most inexperience would be the offensive line and the secondary. And so even though we've got guys like Liu's coming back, Perry's coming back, Orr's coming back, all those guys have started. It's just making sure we adapt what we're doing and draw that line on what we can accomplish and get done. So it's a fine line when you draw that line. So you just got to kind of figure that out. So that's some of the things we'll be doing. But our main thing is we're about coaching these guys from the heart, and then the mind, then the body. So, at the end of the day, what's important that you design a scheme that fits your players. And then our whole deal, I like the energy of our players. I like their attitude. I like the brotherhood that we have. I mean, we're going into year 5, and that's really a positive because, I like how I like the synergy we have, and then really feel good about, where we are as a coaching staff. So it's going to be exciting.
Coach, there'll be tremendous interest in the decision you make at quarterback, and I'm asking you to maybe go inside, not the obvious ball security, run, pass, leadership, but what do you look for? What are you going to look for in your assessment process and evaluation of what will be such a critical decision as this process begins?
Real interesting as you asked that question, because that's why I grinned, because I had Taylor in here yesterday, and we were talking about that, and what I look for, what I spend my time, obviously, Coach Lindsey and the experienced coaches that we have on offense are going to have a lot of input into that, and performance is going to have a lot to do with it. But at the end of the day, it's the guy that elevates the other 10 guys on the field, a guy that can take his team down and score. And I'm excited to see how each one of them have progressed over the summer. Taylor and I were talking about that, about how hard he had worked over the summer and just how much he had improved over the summer. So it's going to be exciting to see that. But the number one factor would be the guy that's going to quarterback our team is going to be the guy that activates those other 10 people and can lead them. And that's something that you can see visually. You can see it as it works, and the respect. And that has to do with not just what you do on one day. one scrimmage. It's collectively what you do in a body of work. So that's why it gives me a lot of confidence. I think the young men that we have at that position are all guys that are very, very well respected on this team because of their work ethic and their character, and not just what they do on the field, but what they do off the field. And so it's going to be fun to watch. And probably our first year here with Taylor, it was 4 days into camp probably when it started to separate. Well, he really moved up. We told him he's going to have 4 days, then he wouldn't get any reps after that. And so he maxed out those 4 days. And it wasn't those 4 days. It was what he'd done all summer long and how he'd improved. So the number one thing, obviously all the things you talked about that are important, we measure all that. But man, it's the guy that can elevate the play of the other 10 guys on the field's guy that you look for, that has what I call the it factor or the intangibles, is who's going to quarterback our team.
Coach, when you look at this season, can you draw some parallels to 2012 as far as a team coming off a losing season? Obviously, it was only your first season at ASU, but question marks at quarterback, question marks at some skill positions. I mean, are there some experiences you can draw from last year and apply to this year?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, if you're not learning, you're moving backwards. So that's something we've always pride ourselves on, is trying to be improving at everything we're doing, and really having great self-awareness. Each person, each coach, including myself, what are things that we can do to get better? I really, just being honest, I really don't think much about 2012. I don't think much about 2013. Tim and I reflect a little bit when I go out there and look at what's going on out there. It's kind of hard to believe that that we'd be where we're at right now. Even though that I'd like to have a lot. I'd like to have won the championship in 13, and there's all kinds of things you always want that's better, but I just don't see it that way. I don't think there's anything. Yes, we're going to have a new quarterback, but just coming to work here every day, nothing is the same than it was in 2012. I think probably most of the guys that were here would tell you the same thing, is that it was kind of you're coming in, they really don't know me, so they're getting used to how I talk and getting used to how we do things, and so it was just completely different. There's some common deals, that we're going to have a new quarterback. We got going to have some new guys, but we're going into year 5. It has a complete different feel for me, and I like our guys' attitudes. I think that we've really spent a lot of time on the relationship part of it, and knowing that I stand up here every year this time and I say, we're going to play in a lot of close football games, and you got to win the close football games. And we had been accustomed to winning those, and we got to get back to winning those.
Todd, you already mentioned the inexperience somewhat in the secondary. What does having a guy like Liu moving back into the secondary do for the complexion of the defense, and also from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, he's very smart player, very instinctive player. He's done a great job for us. So, character, smart, discipline, tough is what we're looking for from our guys. And, we've got, it's not like we don't have, we've got, Kareem's got solid experience back there. Perry's got solid experience. James, Chad Adams. I mean, we got quite a few guys that got experience back there. We got some newcomers we're excited about that are very, very talented. And, but Liu is a guy that I think is what an example he is of what our program's all about. And young men that I know that as he moves forward, exactly what that young man's going to do. He's going to win every day, and I'm not talking about scoring points or doing anything like that or winning contests. I'm talking about how he lives his life. So what an example. We got a lot of really strong examples on our team this year, and that's really the difference. Not that we didn't have that before, but we were just starting. It was starting anew, whereas there's nothing new about what we're doing, and we've established some values. So when I think about Liu, I just think about our values and think about how blessed I am to get to coach him.
Sometimes it can take guys on the offensive, defensive lines a little longer to physically mature to the point where you're ready to play them. Are there any guys who maybe redshirted last year or didn't see as much time who you look at now and you say that guy's physically ready to contribute?
Yeah, there's quite a few guys. I mean that you talk about the offensive line. There's quite a few guys. We had a lot of not a lot, but Steve Miller's a guy that we're excited about. His progression. Cade Cody, Mason, Zach. Yeah. We got quite a few. Red shirt wise, George is a guy that may be on the defensive line. Rennell Wren's a guy that is had limited playing time that we're excited about. Jalen Bates. So got quite a few.
Todd, you mentioned the importance of having a teacher like Chip Lindsey to develop the quarterbacks. What is it about Chris Thompson that gives you that sort of confidence in developing the offensive line?
The biggest thing gives me confidence about Chris Thompson is, probably one of the finest people that I've ever been around. I tell people, including pastors, he'd be in the top 3 best people I know on this planet. And so that's what I think of him. He's just a person that you just have to be around him to see what I'm talking about. He's a master teacher. Who he's the most like, if I said who would Chris Thompson be the most like, it'd be Tom Landry. He doesn't get very animated very often, but he does just a tremendous job. And then he and his wife, just what we love doing this. This is what a blessing it is to get to do what we do. And he really fosters a family. Offensive line is a very unique position. Just how he develops those guys is just it amazes me because he goes about it in a very different way. He's the guy when I'm not doing when I want to watch somebody, I go watch him because I'm fascinated by how he does that. He can just look at them and get really a lot of responses out of them. He just looks at them and they'll just and he's not a scary guy or an imposing guy. I think they just respect him that much, and he's just a guy that you just have a lot of respect for. Not anybody that I know and coach and I have more respect for than him.
You talked about the new coaching staff coming in being seamless transition.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to do with your familiarity with Chip Lindsey and some of the players of the same system they run?
Yeah, that was one of the things that was important. We want to be going into year 5, not starting over in year 1. So I think as much as we can be on the same terminology, that's helped. But moreover, it's the kind of the person. Just how does when you go to put together a staff, I really look at kind of how what are the you're really looking for diversity in talents. And so, and what we needed a coordinator that it was obviously a great developer of quarterbacks. And so there's a certain demeanor and the way they do it. Obviously, we believe in the teaching model. And we wanted a guy that, that loved our players. And we take a certain approach of how we do that. We have one vision, one way that we do that. And so, that's been really, I think, great for our players because I think that's been seamless, but I also think that Chip, as well as Jay and John, have really brought a lot to the table that maybe we didn't, that improved what we had. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of some of the things. Chip's coached quarterbacks and developed quarterbacks his whole career. And so that's different, and that's something that we thought was very, very important. And then just how he learned in our family. Jay Norvell, we have a history. He was with Coach Cassidy and them at Nebraska, and just the background and the different places that he's been, and what a dynamic leader. So that's been then John, obviously his familiarity with our scheme because he worked with Coach Lindsay. And TJ and his familiarity, he's been here and we kind of groomed him, and so that's been pretty smooth. So, you want to hire people and first and foremost, we want to hire great men and then great teachers. And so it's been really, but I do think there's things that, as you look through there, you want to build upon the things you have, but also, try to improve upon some things. And I think we've done that. And obviously we'll see, we'll see how it works.
Coach, you've taken a lot of questions about positions of concern or inexperience. I'm curious to know, what do you like the most? What areas of this team are your strengths, the thing that you'll be able to hang your hat on this season?
Yeah, I like the speed of our team. I think in the skill positions, obviously, every year I say pretty much the same thing, but I like our team. I like their attitude. I like the edge that they have about them. They know that we underachieved and did a little bit PO'd about it. I was going to say something different, but I didn't want to. But anyway, I kind of like that. I kind of like that little edge. I kind of like where we're at. But we are. I come to work and going like, man. I like where we're at. I like. We've got some talented guys. Our running backs are an area that I thought the improvement and the depth we've added and what we've done at tight end. And at running back, not just our top tier guys, but the development of guys like Nick Ralston. And I'm excited to really, take a look at, what Gump brings at that position as well, wide receiver. I'm excited about, every year I've been able to say this, and I don't say stuff I don't mean. Our freshman class is really good. It's been probably the top to bottom is good, or probably better than anyone we've had. And so that's something we've continued to get better. I'm excited to see some of those new freshmen get out there, and we got some pretty talented guys there at receiving core, and so we're excited about that group. I've got confidence in our guys. I really do. I think that what I'm making sure is that we're doing the things that we need to be doing as a staff, and we do have. There's no substitute for experience. Everybody. If you don't have any experience, then you give the talk about how experience doesn't matter, but experience matters. And but we have a very experienced staff. We just haven't worked together, and so we're making sure we have all that down. But that's been really, really. You're not having to convince anybody of anything. Everybody understands kind of how we do it and the uniqueness of what we do, and I think our players kind of know that. I think they're anxious and excited to get rolling, and I guess kind of the thing I like is they have a little edge about them, and these guys care about each other. They want to do what we set out to do here, and but I like that. I like the defensive line. I think probably. 2013 was probably the last time that we, really had the capabilities of really impacting even though we've done it with different ways, but I like that group. Tayshawn Smallwood is JoJo, Tommy, and I could go on and on with the guys behind them. I think I'm excited about Cron Crump. Cron Crump might be as fast as any guy we got. That's pretty exciting. He's, so I'm excited to see him. We've got, I like the veteran guys. I like obviously Salamo and Lau, and both those guys are extremely quiet guys that, I'm excited about our special teams. I went back. That's one of the things I went back and looking at that. We had a turnover or two, one big return or so, and lots of things to be excited about on that as well. So that's the things the areas where we've got a lot of guys with really quality experience. And I kind of like this senior bunch because they've seen it turn. They came in, were a part of turning it, and then they've gotten real close and tasted it, and then they've been knocked down. So I kind of like how that's I think we got some maturity. Our mental maturity is really good. So but I like our team. I like their focus and just how they've got an edge about what they're doing and how they're going about doing it, and they want to be great.
Have you named your team captains yet?
Excuse me?
Have you named your team captains yet?
No.
Also, there's been some chatter about eliminating kickoffs in college football because of injuries. Where do you stand on that?
Until I don't make the rules, I let them make the rules, and so I'm one of the things that we focus a lot on is the safety for our players and how we go about teaching the game, and I think that's something that that's obviously very, very important to us. But on the same hand, I don't worry about things I can't control, and so they make the rules, and I am somewhat of probably a traditionalist when it comes to the game, but I'm not a traditionalist at doing something that hurts our players. So, this is a very physical and tough sport, but I'm for everything that can make it safer for our players and preserve, I think, the greatest game on earth. So, but I don't. Somebody asked me that the other day. Our coaches did. I said, well, if they make that rule, then I'll go by it. So, but we'll see what happens with that.
Todd, why start at Camp T this year? What's your thought behind that?
Excuse me?
Camp T starting up there.
Yeah, obviously academically is one of the reasons why, because of where the calendar ends, and obviously with technology, and I think we're going to have technology. So we don't really want technology at Camp T, but we